Hi, everybody. Okay, let's get started. Thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Nicole Cottrell, Marketing Manager here at Ricoh Canada, and I'll be your host and moderator for today's session. I'll pass things over to my colleague Shannon to introduce our topic and our speaker momentarily. But before that, I have just a couple of quick housekeeping notes that I'd like to cover before we get to it. So all participants are in listen-only mode. However, we do very much encourage your questions. So as you think of them, please go ahead and drop them into the participant feedback window in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. There's an area you can type your message here. I'll be collecting all of the questions and we'll address each of them in turn at the end of the session during our question and answer period. I'll put as many questions forward to our speaker as we have time for, but if we don't get to your question, not to worry, we'll be sure to reach out to you with an answer from Ryan and the team. One other thing, my teammate Gladys Miranda is also on this call with us. She's facilitating our tech today. So she'll see any of your cries for help that you might put into the question and answer chat window if you're struggling with the platform. Not to worry, Gladys will get right back to you. And lastly, the webinar is being recorded and the recording will be shared with all of you by email tomorrow. So without further delay, I'll go ahead and hand things over to Shannon, who will kick things off. Over to you, Shannon.
Thanks, Nicole. Hi, everyone, and welcome. My name is Shannon Farrell, and I lead Ricoh's Business Services team in Canada. I'd like to thank you for joining us this afternoon. I know that we're all busy adapting to today's changing business environment, so I especially appreciate you investing the time with us right now. Today's webinar focuses on the automation of critical accounting processes that are important in maintaining every organization's cash flow. We've seen an increase in demand for our services in this area as businesses have had to close physical offices and move to a more remote way of working. And with that, I'm pleased to introduce our speaker. You'll see his bio on the screen now, Ryan Beckwith. Ryan is our National Process Automation Consultant and is passionate about helping clients solve their business challenges with automation. And over to you, Ryan.
Great. Thank you, Shannon. So I want to first start off today with talking about kind of the new world of work and some of the aspects that are top of mind for our customers today. And you'll see as we go through the presentation today that the two solutions we're specifically talking about today are designed to specifically impact this. So cash flow is a big need for our customers today. So a lot of our customers are customers that are delivering essential services, and it's extremely important to them that their cash flow remains intact. So our payment processing solution that we'll talk about a little later on today definitely has a huge impact on that and allows our customers to continue as business as usual during these times. Both solutions also support work from home. Given the situation we're all in, and Ricoh has been in for some time doing our part, our solutions do allow processes to continue by automating them in a digital fashion, allowing users to participate in these workflows or in these processes from the comfort of their own home offices. One of the other big things that our solutions are always designed to do is they're always designed with business continuity plans in mind. So whether our solution is the business continuity plan or whether our solution simply enables it by remote access or things like that, our solutions also have the ability to fail over, that we have multiple processing centers across the country. So all of our solutions are designed that in the event should we need to, all have a business continuity plan assigned to them. So let's talk a little bit about what we're going to talk about today. So today we're going to go through just some general statistics about transformation in the finance space. We're going to go over our AP automation solution. We're then going to wrap that up with a success story. We're then going to go through our payment processing solution, follow that up with a success story, and then talk about any questions you have at the end of the presentation. Also talk about what next steps could look like should you be interested in engaging a Ricoh consultant to see if our solution is a fit for your organization. So in general, we find one of the biggest things we find is that our customers that are embarking on these digital transformation journeys, they're very focused on the customer touch point, so the front end of the process. So they feel that their clients want to engage with them in a digital manner whether that's online or that's an online form or that's a digital experience when I come into a branch, or whatever that looks like. Our customers seem to be very focused on that front-end interaction with clients. And that's really where we've seen most of the digital transformation work that's gone on in the workplace today. We do find that a lot of the back-end processes like accounting and other processes that are in the back office kind of take a back seat to those customer-facing processes. So we find that a lot of customers are still challenged with a manual process, specifically in accounting. One of the big things we also always hear our customers talk about is process simplification. It's top of mind for all of our clients today, and their main goal is to streamline these business processes that allow them to continue to deliver the exceptional services they deliver to their clients day in and day out. I'm sure that resonates with most of you on the phone today. So in terms of accounts payable, invoicing specifically, some of the changing processes are remittance, accounts receivable, accounts payable, supply chain. And we find that a lot of the reasons customers are struggling with changing these areas are simply lack of resources, maybe the complexity of an integration, or maybe there's multiple ERPs inside of the organization, which makes implementing an integration extremely difficult. Digital security is always top of mind for our clients, especially when they're moving to an online or an automated solution. They're always worried about maintaining the security of the solution and maintaining a digital audit trail to fully understand what's going on inside that process. And then change management. Change management is always top of mind when looking to implement any type of change inside an organization. And really the main focus of that is to kind of close that back door so that employees don't have the option to kind of fall back into the old ways. It's about getting the team to embrace the change and dive right into what that new process looks like. And all of our solutions that you're going to hear about today have really been designed to support kind of all of these changes and try to make it as seamless and easy as possible for our customers. So in terms of invoicing, the need for real-time access to invoice has never been greater. Our clients are very interested in being able to search for something and having an invoice pop up. They don't necessarily enjoy the experience of recalling a box, waiting for that box to come, going through that box, trying to find the specific invoices. Our clients really struggle with the solutions that are out there today if they have no automation in place, and we hear about that all the time, about the need to find that invoice as quickly as possible. Also to simplify potentially an audit process. If there's an internal or an external audit, our solutions make that whole process a lot easier. There's a high cost associated with processing an invoice, and that cost starts the moment that invoice hits the organization. So whether that is being printed multiple times for different people to sign, or that's going through multiple different mail rooms to get an approval, or that's someone physically spending time stamping and coding an invoice, there is a significant cost associated with processing a single invoice. Also, losing or finding invoices is a challenge for customers. I'd say the bigger challenge there is the impact on the vendor and their vendor relationship with that vendor. The vendor doesn't get paid accurately or doesn't get paid on time. Vendor's not really in a good mood when that happens. So that is definitely something that our solutions have been designed to help support. Missing out on vendor discounts is definitely something we hear about all the time. And those could be early payment discounts, and those could also be volume-based discounts. So again, those are kind of the top challenges we see in the space today. So we're going to take a quick second and do a quick poll before we get started. So which best describes your AP process today? I think Nicole is going to take us through the options.
Absolutely. Thanks, Ryan. So we have our poll up here, which best describes your AP processes. So are you doing fantastic? You have integrated AP that's integrated with your ERP. Are you doing well? You're integrated with some kind of software as a service solution. Are you owning your own AP processing software, or is it, like many people, entirely manual all the time? So we have some responses dropping in here, Ryan. It looks like so far, I'll give everyone just another second to get their responses in, but so far everyone's doing kind of okay. It looks like that has the most responses. So I'm going to go ahead and close the poll, everybody, and you'll see the results come up on your screen now.
Great. So we have a lot of people that obviously have done some work in that area, which is great to see. And then we still have a few that are saying, oh, it's manual today. So that's great. So our solution really is designed to meet our clients kind of where they're at. And when we were building and designing this solution and developing the solution, some of the things that we wanted to ensure were benefits to our clients that were built into the solution were things like internal control, being able to control that audit trail and track it from the point that invoice enters the organization to the time it ends up being the vendor being paid. So really a better view of what's going on with that invoice and how it's flowing through the organization. Is it meeting expectations in terms of all the unique business rules that our clients have? Obviously, centralizing the workflow is definitely something we looked at. Anytime you're bringing, especially an AP solution to one of our clients, we really want to ensure that it's a centralized process. This process could absolutely support decentralized scanning. Maybe you have vendors scanning in invoices or uploading invoices, or you have multiple locations across the country. So we definitely support the decentralized scanning and upload part, but the actual processing of the invoices is managed through a centralized system. Our solution definitely looks at automating those repetitive tasks that are in that process today. And because of that, things like keying or maybe some basic coding or things like that, some of that manual work is just simply not required with our service. So a lot of our customers have the ability to reallocate those resources to revenue generating activities inside the organization. Accuracy is huge, so our solution is highly accurate, and I mean that both from the sense of data extraction from the actual invoices, including line items, but also in how we're processing it. So if you have things like early payment discounts or discounts based on volume, that's things that our system can execute on at a high degree of accuracy. Obviously, improved compliance, invoice lookup, so now everything's at your fingertips. If you want to search an invoice, you can do it multiple ways. You can search it up by the invoice number or by date range or by vendor or vendor ID. Like basically any way you'd like to search an invoice, you can search today because all the data from the invoice is extracted and available for searching. GL coding, we find, is a very manual process today. So a lot of our customers rely on different departments or different location managers to do that GL coding today. And we hear it from both sides. So we hear from that department manager or that location manager that, it takes me so long to be able to key these invoices and code these invoices every month. And then we hear from accounting that, the managers did all that work for us, but I've got to go back and fix it all because they didn't GL code it correctly. So we hear that all the time. So we wanted to find a way to simplify and automate that process so less errors could be made. Electronic approvals is something we hear about all the time. So gone are the days where you have to print an invoice off, put the stamp on it, sign it that you received it, then maybe send it to your manager for approval, and then depending on dollar value, maybe they have to send it to their manager. So we have a way of doing that electronically in our solution. There's a full audit trail from the moment that invoice comes into the organization. And then supporting exception handling is also extremely crucial. Our system allows for all work to be done within one system now, our application, and this upload file that we produce that I'm going to talk about a little later on manages both the invoices that we've managed to process through the system and the invoices that ended up in the exceptions queue. So now our customers kind of have one solution updating the ERP, and they no longer have people making manual entries into it. So in terms of how the solution works from end to end, we can ingest an invoice pretty much any way you get it, whether that comes into your organization via email or physical mail or a fax server, or we'd like to have a portal upload for the vendor. All of those are functionality that we've built into our solution today and can support. So the first step in our process is ingesting that invoice. So we get those invoices. If it's an email, we can also extract the body of the email and the text of the email, because sometimes that helps us with processing the invoice. So we basically create an invoice package for every invoice that comes in. If you do have a Ricoh device, we do have an option to use a one-touch scanning button, which allows you to put multiple invoices, multiple doc types, all in the doc feeder, no separator sheets, no barcodes. Simply stack the sheets, hit the button, and the magic happens. So that package comes into Ricoh. It's auto imported into our solution, and then our classification engine will classify the different doc types or different invoices that it sees in this package. So every client has a different type of invoice. So typically the two big ones we see are PO and non-PO invoices, but we do have a lot of other different types, and we design specific queues with business rules to meet your organizational needs. So we tailor this solution to fit what your business needs are. But today I'm just going to talk about kind of the two basic queues. So let's say an invoice came in that matched a PO. Our system would find that invoice. It would extract all the data, including line item information, tax information. It would then do a lookup inside of your ERP to find that PO information. It would match the PO information. It would confirm the taxes were correct based on the location it was delivered at or received at. And if everything matches, it would then kick out to the clean invoice queue. If it did not match, it would then kick into the exceptions queue, and someone would basically, from your accounts payable team, would provide additional information on how you wanted that invoice processed. Our solution can learn from that, so if it's something that happens all the time, and it's a repeatable exception, our solution can actually learn from what the user is doing, and then the next time that invoice comes in, next time it has that situation, the system can actually take the action to get that done. The other queue is basically an invoice that has no PO. So no PO means there's nothing to match against. But again, we would extract all the information. We would then route for approval. If you have a multi-step approval, like a three-phase approval, depending on value or dollar value or things like that, or a particular vendor, our system can absolutely do that. And it automates the routing of who actually needs to approve this invoice. So day one, this might not be 100% unless you have all that information and that data available to us. But typically our clients usually only have about 50 or 60% of those invoices mapped for us in terms of vendors or locations or things like that. So we program that in day one, and then the accounting team takes over for routing the remaining invoices that need to go for approval. But once they do that, the system actually learns, so that the next time that invoice comes in, it knows exactly where to forward that invoice for the appropriate approval. So after it goes through that approval process and the exception handling is done, the invoices eventually make it onto our clean invoice queue. Once they get into that clean invoice queue, they will end up on a daily upload file. These upload files are customized. They are built for our unique for every customer's unique ERP. So we've done everything working from Sage all the way to SAP to Oracle. We can work with pretty much any ERP that's out there, and we will design an upload template that will go and basically do all the journal entering, all the posting, all the GL coding. It'll take it all the way to the point where all the information has been entered to get that vendor paid. We get this question all the time. Just because you're processing the invoice quicker does not mean you need to pay the client quicker. It means that you have it set up, and whatever the payment terms are inside the ERP, the vendor would get paid. After that, we can either send the invoice to you, or we can send a link to you that can get ingested into your ERP, so you can click it and view the link in our archive, or you can simply just reside or leave the images for retention in Ricoh's archive, and then you can look it up at any given time. What you're now going to see is a simple business case. So this was for a client that originally had about five full-time staff processing invoices. So this is something that the Ricoh consulting team can work with you on. So should you decide after today's presentation that you would like some more information and would like to engage a consultant to better understand how the solution could fit within your organization, this would be part of our quoting process, and we would help design this business case for you. Again, this is just an example. So that we do have this solution rolled out at multiple clients across Canada. One of our largest clients is one of Canada's largest retailers. They get thousands and thousands of EDI exceptions a week. And because of that, it kicks out of the EDI process or the automated process. So their challenge was processing these paper-based invoices from multiple locations across the country and basically having to manually manage all of these issues which could be a vendor wasn't paid correctly, vendor wasn't paid at all because invoice got lost, numerous different challenges that happen along the way. Our solution allowed for one-touch scanning from the store. So we have some stores that are scanning up to 200 to 300 invoices a day that are coming into our solution. And again, they're using that one-touch button. So maybe they have a large multifunction device in the receiving area, and they simply walk up and stick 300 invoices, no separator sheets, no barcode sheets, and hit that green button, and all of those documents come to Ricoh and begin to be processed into our capture solution, into our invoice solution. So the net result of our solution was definitely significantly improved resolution process, which basically means the vendors were getting paid more accurately and on time, and drastically reduced the amount of vendor inquiries that were coming in, and they were also handled manually by a very large team. We streamlined the process and provided process simplification in general to the process. And during this time, during the COVID-19 pandemic, actually, this retailer was able to rely on their vendors to push them to do direct store delivery more, even though it fell outside of the EDI process as a result, and not have to worry about processing this large influx of invoices that would be coming in as a result of basically sidestepping the EDI process because it was direct store delivery. Yeah, that's one of our great success stories. So now we're going to move on to payment processing. So we're going to another quick poll. So what do you think? What's your biggest payment payment processing challenge?
So let's see what we have here, Ryan. The biggest payment management challenge. So are you struggling with post-dated checks? Is it a function of the EFT posting volume that you have? Is it the seasonal peaks? That's often for a lot of people, whether it's retail at Christmas time or back to school. So or it could be exceptions in correspondence. So we have some results slowly trickling in here as people are going through their options. It's looking like, what a surprise, Ryan, it's looking like the big win is exceptions and correspondence. I'll go ahead and close that now and put up the results for everybody.
Of course, yes. Those exceptions and correspondence are always a challenge for our customers to deal with, and that's exactly why we built our solution with that in mind, to be able to manage that. Because a lot of the time, the reality is those exceptions or correspondence come into that payment remittance mailbox. So that's not shocking for us to see at all, and we absolutely planned that into our solution. So some of the other things that we thought about when we were designing our solution and some of the impacts we wanted it to make for our clients were things like faster deposits, reduction in manual labor requirements, improved transaction processing time, transition from a physical deposit to the bank to an electronic X9 file, improved security, obviously, improved reporting. Our solution definitely leverages a web services integration to go and look up invoice information. It allows us to kind of process everything in one touch, which I'll get into a little later on. Again, exception handling was extremely important because anything that Ricoh brings to market, we really try to offer an end-to-end solution. And by providing our customers a solution that allows them to process the tricky things or the exceptions inside of the application, what we're doing is mitigating people logging directly into the ERP and spending time keying things into the system. So the goal was to incorporate that as well. The solution supports both checks and EFTs, very low startup costs, transactional pricing model, and a very minimal touch from IT to get this off the ground and running. So in terms of the actual process I'm going to walk you through now, I'm actually going to walk through the process twice. I'm going to walk through it as if it was a check coming in, and then the second one it will be an EFT. Before I start, one thing I just would like everyone to think about. So I'm sure there's some folks on the phone today that currently offer or currently use a lockbox service from a bank. So I would say we refer to our service a lot as a lockbox on steroids. So we really provide that back-end piece, the payment application piece, as part of our service offering. So I'll get into that right now. So one thing, so check comes in. It usually comes into a PO box. So either our customer sets up a new PO box or they forward an existing PO box to our location. We receive that PO box. We go to it daily. We bring that to our location. We then actually begin to scan right away. So for those on the phone that are familiar with this process, they'll have already noticed we've skipped the sorting step. And for some of our customers, that's extremely painful. So we have customers that literally have a sorting party when they come in, and they start even like putting them into piles. So that no longer needs to happen. They come in and they automatically get sorted by the software. The software then, based on the type of check it is, it begins to process it. So it'll identify that it's either a partial payment or a full payment, or maybe it's a multiple payment, or it's a check only, or the different types of payments. And it does this because it has a live connection via web services to our customer's ERP that we can validate this information as we're scanning these payments. So after we've matched up all of these payments, they get on to an upload file that, again, is ingested to our customer's ERP, and it's actually transmitted at the end of the day at the same time that we release the bank file to the bank. So we both release an X9 file that balances to the posting file that we are sending over into our customer's ERP system. A lot of times we're asked, what if I get a payment that I can't find an invoice for? So we have ways of basically applying that to as an unapplied account. So our customers will provide us an unapplied, and then we'll provide a report at the end of the day that says these are the items we sent to unapplied, and then our customers need to log into that exception queue and go and clear it. So that way the funds are getting into the bank account as quickly as possible. And that really is the end-to-end check processing solution. Again, a big difference here is we can process all the exceptions. So things like multiples, things like check onlys, things like customers using credit that are on their account, all of those things that normally you would have to process as an exception if you had a lockbox service, you would no longer be required to do. All of that is included with Ricoh's offering. The other thing to think about as well is now you're doing everything in one pass. So we have a lot of customers that we've transitioned that use maybe like a SimCore or an Intria, where they actually do the in-house scanning first, and then they use a courier to take those checks to a SimCore or an Intria every day to be processed again and scanned. So now we're effectively doing everything in one pass and simplifying it. So on the EFT side, what's happening is essentially a three-way match. So what we do is we receive the bank files on behalf of our customers every day, and we create a database. We have access to their payment remit box, where they get the email for the remittance information of the EFT that they've just received. We match that remittance information to the bank file, and then we match it to the invoices that it needs to be applied to inside of our customer's ERP. And again, all of that information is done via the upload file. So effectively what our solution does is it provides an end-to-end solution for payment processing for EFTs and for checks. Again, this is a sample investment case. You can see this client did have some savings, about 22%, and they drastically simplified the process. So So yeah, again, this is something the Ricoh consultant would help you with and help you work through as part of the consulting engagement or the quoting process should you decide to get some more information and see how this solution could fit your organization. Here's another sample use case. So this client is one of Canada's largest providers for courier and freight logistics in Canada. Their main challenges were mainly keeping up with the volume. They had extremely high peaks and valleys in their business. So think of things like Christmas and back to school. As a result, this caused a very high DSO. They had a very high labor cost simply because of the number of payments this client was receiving. This client received thousands of payments a day. It was a very complicated process before Ricoh. And security and compliance were definitely something that Ricoh needed to overcome in order to earn this client's business, and we successfully did that. So the solution again was a check and EFT solution to be processed end-to-end by Ricoh. The solution included processing exceptions and post-dated checks. The post-dated checks are something I didn't actually mention before. The solution does support that, so we find a lot of clients they are in let's call it the old ages where the post-dated check comes in and there's a filing cabinet and it gets filed away at a certain day that it needs to be cashed at, and every day when the bank deposit's done, someone goes to that filing cabinet, pulls open that drawer, looks for that day, pulls that check. So all of that goes away. All of that now is done electronically. The software or the solution that Ricoh has parks that payment and then we'll release it on the day that payment needs to be deposited into the bank. We can also apply reporting on that, so our customers will know how many post-dated checks and what the value is on hand. The solution definitely included multiple X9 files. So today, Ricoh provides X9 files to multiple banks in Canada today. We can work with any of them. And we already have that built and running today, which is a huge time saver for our clients because they don't need to try and do that, which is not an easy process. Again, we have this particular client is using SAP, and we have a live link into SAP via web services to do lookups, and then we have the ability to post our file for day-end cash application. So some of the things that was very important to this client and was a result of our solution was same-day deposit guaranteed. That's from Ricoh for this particular client. They're a very large client. Not all of our clients are getting same-day deposit. That's not necessarily a requirement for all clients, but that is an option. We definitely improved the customer experience for their customers because we were applying funds more accurately to outstanding bills, so they weren't getting late payment notices or holds put on their account for not paying. So that drastically improved the process for them. And I think one of the other big things right now is during the COVID-19 pandemic that we're in, this client has all of their offices shut. So they wouldn't have anyone in the office to process these physical checks that were coming in. So our solution completely mitigates that risk for them. As Ricoh is considered an essential service, we are providing services to several essential services, so we are open for business. The solution is continuing to work, so we are providing services to all of our essential services clients right now. So this was a huge win for them. So quickly I'll go over through some of the KPIs. So this client was able to reduce processing days by 80%, reduction in check workstations or amount of labor involved in the process was reduced by 75%. Just overall process decrease in number of tasks was decreased by 79%. So it was a big win for the client, and yeah. So in terms of our last poll here, what do you think? Do you deposit all your checks manually today?
Alrighty, let's see what we have here. So are we using a lockbox? Do we have high volume in-house tech that's supporting our efforts? Are you using a desktop check scanner, a high volume scanner, or daily deposit runs? So I'm expecting, if I were a betting girl, that the deposit runs on a daily basis would be a high number. It's looking that way so far. We'll just give everyone one more second, Ryan, before we skip to the results here. So a little bit of flickering and changing, but yep, it's daily deposit runs for the win.
that's not surprising at all. So in terms of what's next, if you're interested in understanding a little bit more of how these solutions could make an impact at your organization, we'd be extremely happy to help you with that. And we could engage a consultant to speak with you, and what that process would look like was basically starting with an understanding of what your process is today, identifying how we can help, if we can help, examining which solution would be best for your organization, and then working with our team to build a tailored solution for your organization, including a business case, and then implementing it as per your timeline. And that's I think that brings me almost to the end of the presentation today.
That's great. So we've saved some time for some Q&A for you, Ryan. I've been collecting some questions from the audience as we've been going along here. Let's see. So let's see what makes the best sense to start. So this first question, Ryan, throws back to your AP as a service slides. So the audience member is asking, would the system be able to update invoice information to our PO system, which is separate from our financial system?
Yeah, so absolutely. So we have some customers that we have one in particular that has that going on today. So that's something we have seen before, and that is absolutely something we can customize. So one of the things I think that is great to point out that kind of differentiates our solution is that our solution is not necessarily a one-size-fits-all. It's not. There's a lot of AP solutions that are out there today that are basically a solution in a box. That is not what this is. This is a trusted product with trusted solutions in the back end that is really tailored to meet your business needs. So this is not a custom build. This is not an off-the-shelf one-size-fits-all. This is a trusted product, a trusted solution that's tailored to meet your existing business needs.
Thanks, Ryan. The next question is, how long do these solutions usually take to roll out?
So both solutions that we've talked about today can be implemented between 60 and 90 days, and that is everything from the consulting engagement to the development to UAT to moving into production.
Good stuff. I like this next question. This is interesting because I know, Ryan, a lot of people are on the fence. Does it make sense to bring in a partner, or does it make sense to buy something off the shelf and then own it? So can you comment on how these solutions are different than the software products I can buy off the shelf and then I own it?
Yeah. So number one, I'd say a lot of the time they don't give you the flexibility you need to kind of maintain status quo. So what I mean by that is sometimes when you look for some of these AP solutions, you're forcing a vendor to key information into your system, to invoice you in a specific way, to change the way they interact with you today. And our solution simply allows you just to continue on without any of that happening. The other thing that our solution allows you to do is it truly is an end-to-end process automation. So you are effectively automating the process from end to end. So it has everything built in. So a lot of the products that are out there today, maybe they don't do the electronic approval, maybe they don't do the three-way match, maybe there's a piece they don't have. Our solution is all in. It has everything that you could possibly need, and it can be tailored to fit all of your unique business needs.
Good stuff. There's so we have a question here. For AP payments, we sometimes have found that customers change the look or location of data on the remittance. Are you creating a template for each customer, and how quickly can that template be updated if the customer makes a remittance form change?
Oh, that's a great question. So the answer is no. We are not creating a template. So our solution leverages a very advanced capture solution in the front end that actually leverages NLP, which is natural language processing. So we have the ability to do what you can essentially do with templates at a much higher degree of accuracy without creating any template. And just to add to that as well is this is process as a service. So the result to our customers is 100% of the data being extracted. So whether the Ricoh solution did that in an automated fashion, or it got kicked for a Ricoh operator to view something on screen because the confidence level wasn't extremely high, that is all built into our solution. So your net result that you're going to get back from Ricoh is everything extracted from that invoice, from the taxes to the line items to everything. So this is not a solution. That's the other big difference. This is not a solution where you would run it through a capture engine and then have someone have to go and fix it. So this is an end-to-end solution that really automates that process. That's a great question, though. We get that all the time.
Thanks, Ryan. Next question, where is the data hosted?
The data is all hosted in Canada, and our customers all own their own data. It is not commingled, so it's all separated securely. They can request that data back at any time, and it's all hosted in Canada.
Perfect. Now, this one's a bit broad-based, I think, but someone's inquiring, can these kinds of solutions be applied to other processes?
They absolutely can. So both solutions we've talked about today, really what they're doing is leveraging Ricoh's business process automation toolkit. So inside this toolkit, we have RPA solutions, so robotic process automation solutions. We have advanced capture solutions that leverage NLP, which is natural language processing. We have solutions that leverage artificial intelligence to make decisions, to learn both assisted and unassisted. So we have some machine learning built into our solutions, and then we also have some assisted machine learning built into our solutions, where our solutions are effectively learning from the exceptions our users are processing or things like that. So we're able to apply this tool set to numerous applications. So if it is if our clients have any type of day forward processes that involve some type of manual intervention at the front end, whether that's keying or that's setting up a contract in the system. Yes, those can be applied for that. So these can be applied to like something like claims processing or mortgage document processing or store forms, health and safety forms, anything of that nature.
Thanks, Ryan. That looks like this one came in while we were discussing one of the case studies. The question is, in other implementations for clients, did you have issues in how their customer accounts and GLs were organized and had to recommend changes in order to automate?
Yeah, so that's an interesting question. I would say that they weren't necessarily challenges for us because we can make anything work. But I would say that there are some processes we've seen with our clients that basically this was a perfect opportunity to make a change to simplify the process, and that's absolutely something we would recommend. So that's part of the consulting engagement where we get a very thorough understanding of what your process looks like today, and we come in, and our consultants have a lot of experience in finance, and they would recommend something. If they realized that the GL codes were going to cause an issue or weren't easily identifiable, or maybe the approval process in place didn't make sense, or maybe there wasn't a business control in place that we've seen at other clients. So we make those recommendations when we basically put forward our recommendation for future state. So during the consulting engagement, we map out current state, and then we provide you a future state map that basically dictates how we will develop, how we will implement the solution, what business rules will be in place, how it will work for our customers. And that typically matches up to what we call a BRD, which is a business requirements document. And that comes from our clients. So our clients create the BRD, and then we match up the future state to be able to resolve, let's call it, that BRD. Does that answer the question? I think so.
I think so. The the last question, we're just coming close to up on time here, but I do want to put this one out there to you because this is something you and I have talked about in terms of scalability and how, what it is that that you and Shannon and the rest of the team are doing with regards to scalability. So the question is, we have many thousands of customers and hundreds of vendors. How much time is spent mapping documents?
None. So we build the solution to be able to learn on its own, and we build analytics into it up front and data into it up front. There's numerous tasks that we spend to do that. So we do not have a solution where we build a template and we match it to a vendor. So we have customers that have we have one customer actually that has over 60,000 vendors. It would be absolutely impossible to map fields and map templates for that customer. So that's not how the solution works. Again, it leverages that advanced capture solution in the front end, which leverages NLP, that allows us to be highly accurate when we are extracting the information from the invoices.
I think, Ryan, if you'll indulge me for one more question, a bit of a late one that came in, but I think it's a really good question because from what you and I have spoken about over the years, we don't have a lot of, I guess, this person's referring to kind of competitive advantage. And given what it is and how customized the solution is to the environment and, all of the things you were just describing through these last questions, I thought this question was interesting. The fella says, "Hi, Ryan. What is Ricoh's competitive advantage over its competitors in the AP/AR process?"
So I would say three things. So number one, I would say our experience. We've done this time and time again, and we've done it successfully. We have some of the best references you will see in Canada today. So some of the right up to the top organizations to some of the smallest organizations as well have been able to leverage our solutions. And we've implemented on time, successfully, and under budget. The second would be our flexibility, so our ability to tailor our solution to meet the unique needs of our clients. We have clients that are in very different industries. We have some that are in transportation, some that are in finance, some that are in retail. All of those industries bring with it unique applications that they need for the same process. So the ability for us to manage that and really support our clients with building something and developing something and implementing something that works for them. We don't ask them to come to us. We come to them with our solution. And then the third, I think, would be our ability to implement quickly. Which is, I think, a huge struggle in the marketplace today. So when our customers, if it's with another competitor or it's with an in-house product, we hear time and time again that implementation took 12 months or a year or 6 months. Like we can do that in half the time. And we can do it in half the time because of the experience we have with the products we use to facilitate these processes. And the other big thing there is that Ricoh is the one training the system. So a lot of this new technology that's out there in the marketplace today, it's extremely expensive to have someone on staff to be able to manage those RPA solutions or manage those advanced capture solutions. And once the process is built, sometimes it's hard to hold on to them and they move to another organization, and then you've got to bring somebody else in to run something that someone built, which is never a great situation.
Thanks, Ryan. That's great. Alrighty, folks, we're at the end of our time together. Thank you for all of those fantastic questions. A lot of them came in right towards the end there, but I'm glad we were able to address those for you. I'd like to thank Shannon and Ryan, and to all of you on the call. Thank you for sharing your time with us today. When we close the webinar, you'll see a thank you screen with a couple of survey questions. I'd love if you could take a minute or two, just share your thoughts with us so we can keep improving and continue to create tools and resources for you that have value. You'll also see an option to have a business consultant give you a call tomorrow if that's something you're interested in and would like more information. So with that, thanks again, everyone. Have a fantastic day. Bye for now.